What's up, guys? This is Jay from COI. So, Trump put out his first attack ad against Biden. I take it back. I'm sorry. It was his second attack ad against Biden last week. And the ad was basically talking about how much Biden loves him from China. And it was a fairly strong attack ad, and it was strategically the right move for Trump. Well, Biden, the genius that he is, and the genius that his campaign manager is, actually went into this, and they released an attack ad today on Trump, exposing how much he loves China. Here's some things we know about Trump and China's relationship. Number one, there was a company, it still exists by the way, a cell phone company by the name of ZTE. They worked with our military men. They were the ones who made majority of their cell phones. Well, it seems like we discovered that China was turning the GPS on of those cell phones that our military men had, and they were selling the data to our enemies. And this happened under the Obama administration. And when they found out there was persecution, and there should have been way worse, by the way, that company shouldn't even exist. The founders, owners, anyone involved should be doing major prison time because men died over that. And there's bridges you just don't cross, and that's one of them. But when Trump got into office, he had a nice long conversation with Xi Jinping and ZTE and announced that they could start working again. They were open for business, and they could work with America again. I've always said that's something that should have been talked about, and it just wasn't. And lo and behold, by the way, after the ZTE um, extravaganza happened, China gave Trump $500 million in naming rights for hotels and to help him with an amusement park that he's working on. That will be, I guess, a future project. We also know that Ivanka has been given millions of dollars. Her and Jared made about $80 million. Excuse me, $80 billion last year. And about a third of that came from China. Now, it's hard to really track down because, yes, some were through legitimate sales of her fashion industry. But there was a lot of money she got in naming rights, which was directly through China. And there is, of course, the situation on human rights. That the Uyghurs, who are essentially being held in concentration camps in China, and are being spied on in the most disgusting possible ways, are not being mentioned under the Trump administration. And this major problem happened under the Trump administration. Or we can go further with that and talk about the Hong Kong situation. And as a lot of people may or may not know, Hong Kong is trying to declare a division from China to have their own democracy, their own country, and what they want is democracy. And yeah, China is holding on to them. In fact, fixing the voting for that to happen. And we've heard very little from Trump. So we can go through all of that. By the way, none of that I learned in the Biden ad. None of it. Instead, Biden went in to show clips of Trump saying that he thought that China was doing a good job with the coronavirus. By the way, let's be honest, what's he gonna say? Oh, they're assholes, they're fucking it up. It was a quick walk-through question. I mean, and by the way, if he had said that at the time, he would have been a bigot. Because this ad also attacks his travel ban and said it wasn't strict enough. 40,000 people were allowed from China to enter our country under that travel ban. Isn't it the same travel ban that Joe Biden called him a racist because he implemented it? That one? Oh, and by the way, those 40,000 people, they were American. They were just coming home. But yeah, the reason why Biden didn't hit on the big things that I mentioned was because Biden's even worse with China. one of our biggest problems is our supply chain. The fact that most of the things that we need on a daily basis are made in China. Pharmaceuticals, raw material being refined. Almost everything you can think of that we have is made in China. The reason why is because of a deal by the name of NAFTA. NAFTA and TPP, to be exact. But NAFTA was one of the big ones. And with NAFTA, it took Joe Biden to sign on to and to really push to get it over the finish line, which he promised this would help. This would help China, yes, but a good economy for China is a good economy for America. He knew damn well that wasn't true. He knew he was selling us out, but he kept that facade. Then he went on under the Obama administration to push TPP, in which he told people in his own home state that this will not affect your jobs. 6 months later, most of them lost their jobs because those jobs were sent over to China. Because Joe Biden is the president of MBNA, not the US of A. He is the Wall Street senator. Does not give a damn shit about the average person. And getting your hands dirty often involves dealings with China, unfortunately. Now, I haven't even talked about the fact that Hunter Biden got $1 billion of a sweetheart loan from China. It wasn't enough of a slap in the face. He got that. He went to go sign for the loan and to meet with Xi Jinping on none other than Air Force Two. Didn't have to buy his own fucking plane ticket. Daddy helped him with that. My whole point is neither one of these two are really as hard on China as they need to be. And that goes with almost any country. Almost, but yeah, there's some they're extraordinarily hard on, like Venezuela, who've done very little to America. But regardless, neither one of these guys are in a position to attack the other on who's worse dealing with China. Trump actually comes out a bit more ahead because of the trade deals. In fact, I still think that Trump is going to go down in history in 100 years. The only thing people are going to remember is the trade deals. Because from every informant I have, the trade deals might be the thing that gets us through economically. He did a fairly good job, and it's all coming out now. We're going to start seeing more and more numbers, and it was a pretty good deal, basically, is what I'm saying. It's hard for me to say, I admit. I'm not a Trump supporter. But why woke Joe Biden decided to go in on China? I have no idea. And it kind of, at a weird basis, opens up who Biden is. Have you noticed in the corona response and, God, just about anything, Joe Biden hasn't been a leader, but a follower. I for sure thought, oh, Trump ran this negative ad on Biden. Well, Biden's going to come back and attack the way that attack Trump's preparedness. He's going to go after that. That's a really good attack right now. What do you do? China? Really? You're going to go after Trump on China after he just signed or just negotiated one of the best trade deals for America? I mean, not that that was available, but I mean one of the best that we've had. It could have been a lot better. But that's your big attack? It's horrible. And it's almost like Biden is just bumbling his way out. He's sticking to the wall like a wallflower. And anyone says anything to him, he's gonna be like, "No, you are," and go about his business. He's never gonna stand on a podium. He's never gonna make any giant declarations or lead any sort of revolution. He's just the manager. And he's like a really bad manager at that. Because at least a game manager knows when to hand the ball off. He, he's just keeping it and running home. This is the. You could argue certain things look good and bad for either one of these guys. The fact that Biden's popularity has dropped, and yes, technically it has dropped. I know people are going to say, oh, no, he's up by 8 points, and Trump's in office. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But he was up by 11 to 13 points, depending on what polls you look at, just a month ago. In that month, the pandemic has spread across the country, and our economy has gone to shit. If there was one time that you would expect the president to just pretty much eat dirt, it would be now. Instead, he's actually doing better. Because Biden is that shitty. And not to mention, discuss the fact that there was a poll done recently on how well you trust certain people in the media and politicians on COVID and their response. Now, most people, like overwhelmingly, like 70% said CDC. Under that was Dr. Fauci. No, actually, under that was their own governor, which I thought was really cool. And then under that was Dr. Fauci. And coming in at a whopping third, 33% was Donald Trump. And it's like, Jesus Christ, that's awful. Only 33% of the country trusts Donald Trump during this pandemic, on this pandemic. And then you see who's at the bottom. Mr. Joe Biden, hanging in at a quarter. 25% trust him. It's it's laughable, honestly. It really is. And as a progressive, I really hope they blame this one on us. I really do. So that maybe we'll have power next time around. This, I can ultimately say at this moment, this is not us. We would have had a candidate who was attacking, who was being original, who was doing the things that you would need to do. And yeah, you got Biden, who has had no original ideas, had no original plans, does the bare minimum, just staying in there like a manager. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Curious what you guys think. Are you a Trump supporter, a Biden supporter? Uh, I'm really curious, like, especially if you're a Biden supporter, tell me why I should vote for Biden. I'm a progressive. I'm a Bernie. I'm not hardcore progressive. Like the, I don't want to say communist, but there's a sect of progressives that almost get to like this complete socialist. I'll say socialist like ideology, and I'm not there. I'm totally not. I think we have to have capitalism. I think it needs to be regulated. It needs to be checked. It needs to work for the people. But I definitely like I could be swayed, and I've been back and forth on Biden. It's been a real rough one, by the way. But yeah, why should I? Why should I vote for him? And if you're a Trump supporter, why should I vote for Trump? There's a lot of us, by the way. I mean, if you're looking to win the White House, either side, the progressives is where you need to go because there is a ton of us who are roaming around, kind of looking for a house, seeing what looks good over here, what looks good over there, and yeah, we got Aunt Jill Stein over there who's just ready to take us in whenever. But I would really be interested in what you believe these other parties offer progressives because I think this is bigger than just this election. I don't think the progressives are going to stick with the Democrats if the Democrats keep giving them what they're giving them. I think you could see a lot of progressives on the right wing, registered Republicans, who, yeah, push up against a lot of the social issues, but agree with a lot of financial issues. I mean, there's a lot of populism in the Republican side, and that's very attractive to a lot of progressives. Anyway, I'm really, really curious about all that. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Take care.